Hi everybody and welcome to Get Indie Gaming. While the recently just ended annual Game Developers Conference doesn't get the hype associated with E3, PAX or Gamescom, it's one of the best yearly events where game developers come together to share and show off what they're currently working on. The event usually throws up a number of titles that amaze and surprise, and this year was no exception. We've been through the list of those attending to bring you what we feel are 10 of some of the best and most promising looking games at the conference. Let's begin, and as usual these showcases are in no particular order, with Sky, the debut game coming from the Scottish studio Puny Astronaut. This sees players direct a beautiful looking dragon within a 2D world solving puzzles within the environment. While visually you could say Sky's potentially aimed at the younger generation, players of the demo have said the puzzles were of an adult level, which suggests a strong element for this to be especially popular with young families. For many, golf is a rather boring affair, and yet here in What the Golf, this game appears to be anything but, with the concept of the sport being nicely broken. One for the purists, this most certainly isn't, with its quirks and amusing touches, together with a whole heap of clever looking twists. Children of Morta is a pixel art game from Dead Mage where you take control of the Bergson family, who've looked after Mount Morta for generations. You're able to control 6 family members, all with differing abilities, although you can only play with one such member at a time, or 2 if playing local or online co-op. The game uses a mix of handcrafted levels, randomly generated dungeons and narrative sections to help drive the story forward. Expected this winter on all the usual platforms. The only VR title in the showcase, Downward Spiral Horace Station, is a sci-fi adventure set in the zero gravity of outer space. The story takes players to a lost space station abandoned by its crew, where the tale is pieced together from the environment, as there are no dialogue or cinematics. Players will need to piece things together themselves and solve problems to help resolve the mystery. This will also be playable in non-VR mode for those without such hardware. From the developers at Longbrow Games, usually better known for historical strategy games, Golem is a casual fantasy puzzle adventure that seems to draw influence from games such as Monument Valley and Journey. It tells a story of a desert world searching for water via glowing murals and environmental puzzles. The twist comes from the golem that's a glowing rock you carry throughout the levels. While starting as a simple dead weight, it evolves into other forms until it's a more capable thing than you, the player character. The shift in the gaming power balance is fairly nifty. Expected first on the PC this summer. Smoke and Sacrifice looks similar to the rather fine Don't Starve, although from the trailer it seems to be a narrative open-world RPG with a hostile and grim fantasy setting. It follows the story of a mother who journeys into the underworld to find out what happened to her son. It's a traditional crafting and survival offering with a decent enough art style and story to keep the interest in what's possibly becoming an oversaturated field of the market. Carto is an intriguing, map-based puzzle game that in truth, there's not too much information about it, other than it's a character and story-driven affair with elements of cartography and of course, plenty of puzzles. We're taken with the art direction and the colours used, and while we're very much in early development, this will certainly be added to our backlog. XCOM players will certainly want to take a look at Phantom Doctrine, which is expected later this year. It's a tactical turn-based strategy game that drips with visual quality and concerns the running of a spy agency during the Cold War. You send your spies out on missions across the globe, with different spies having differing skill sets, making some better than others for various tasks. Your agents will gain more experience as they complete their missions, while also running the risk of capture and being turned by the enemy. Phantom Doctrine is coming to the PC, PlayStation 4 and the Xbox. Widely described as being Grand Theft Cthulhu, Dead Static Drive, with its desert palette and simple but sophisticated characters, vehicles and backgrounds, sees you upon a road trip across a desolate American landscape that's become home to plenty monsters, beasties and worms such as those within the Tremors movie series. You'll meet people along the way, and you'll need to meet your and their basic needs as you try to reconnect with your estranged family before the apocalypse separates them from you forever. The final game in this GDC video, and by all accounts one of the stars of this year's GDC, bringing large crowds to see it, this untitled goose game, seemingly part stealth and part puzzler by House, sees you playing as the goose, where you're given the task of genuinely being rather annoying, be this stealing a farmer's sandwiches, taking his keys, or sneaking in and out of the garden, all while honking and hissing, well, like a goose really. This all looks great fun, is highly original, and we're very much looking forward to playing this, probably sometime in 2019. Of course, with many games covered at this year's GDC, there's every reason we might have missed your personal favourite. So if so, why not let us know in the comments down below or on Twitter, where we can be found at via Get Indie Gaming. This video was enormously fun to put together, and we're looking forward to other events later this year, such as E3 and the RGX in the UK, to see what other indie games we should be putting on our radar. Cheers once again for watching, and hope to see you here again soon for more indie game related content.